Hi, Jay Frederick Smith here, Continental Realty of Jackson. We're heading on into 3926 Ruby Drive West in Jacksonville, Florida. We've had a look at the outside, and it doesn't look too bad. But now we're going to head in and see, what else have we got going on in this house. So it looks like there's been some renovation that has been done. You've got this little entry area here where there's a step going up into the main part of the house. Why? I don't know, unless this was at one point in time like a screen porch or something, which is possible considering the thickness of that wall. I bet that's the case, that this was just a screen porch and they built this up. Hopefully when they did this, they also made sure that the what's underneath is cement, just like the rest of the house. There's some staining on the floor here. I don't know what that yellow is. Doesn't look like the kind of stain that's going to come out. But it does look, though, like there has been some work done, primarily in the kitchen area, some fresh paint, maybe some lights, that kind of thing. So we'll walk through it. We've got some kind of a quartz pattern counter here on this wall dividing that little entry space. You can see it here, this little quartz thing. It's kind of like a breakfast bar or whatever, but it's not really, because it just divides that side, where the transition is, from this side. And so, you won't fall down off of the edge of that. That's really all that is. And as you can see, there is quite a height difference in the ceiling. So what that would be for, I guess, a little entry sitting area, this being your main living room, and that being the kitchen over there. Now, for some reason, the refrigerator is not in the cubby that's built for it. I don't know why that is. Not my business. But they've got it plugged in here with the doors facing the wall for some reason. Don't ask me why. It's not a new fridge. It is and it's not a clean fridge either. It's kind of disgusting, actually. But I've seen worse. But it's not new, so I don't understand what is the reason for that, but whatever. I just am curious about those kinds of things. You would think that it would be put in there. Maybe what they were doing is some work, because obviously, as you can see, they have not got this trimmed out all the way yet. Maybe that's the reason. So it's possible. And also, what appears to have once been where the outlet was for that, or maybe the water connector for the refrigerator now has been just basically capped off. They didn't do a very nice job either. They just threw a cap on it with a single screw and then squirted some foam insulation in there. Sometimes when they do these renovations, they have to do them fast. Windows are newer double pane vinyl windows. Screens are included, which is good. Cabinets look pretty new. The pulls look new. We have the soft close drawers and doors, and I appreciate that. The backsplash is this, staggered cut glass backsplash that they just, they glue it on the wall and then they put a little grout in there. It looks okay, not bad. The quartz countertops are good. The main panel is in here. There we go, we get the light going. The main panel is in here, and that is, unfortunately, this is a Challenger panel. Yeah, that's too bad. Okay, so the problem with a Challenger panel like this one is that it is no longer certified by the IEEE, which means that with this panel in place, we cannot get this house insured. So that means that basically this is a cash deal with this panel in place, or the panel would need to be swapped out for a new panel. And a panel replacement, is going to cost you anywhere from between $1,500 and $3,000, depending on who does it and the kind of panel that they put in and the service. So, I would just expect the larger size price on that, just to be safe. So expect the $3,000 bill. That's basically what it would cost you, to get that panel replaced. But that would be something that, you could have the seller do maybe if you put an offer in on it, and ask for some concessions. Because if you're getting a loan, well, you won't be able to get a loan with that panel. Okay, stepping through the kitchen into this little back area, there's like a back porch too. This is where the laundry is. As you can see, there's a little window here looking out, bringing some light into this room. I guess the light switch would be this one. Nope. No, I don't know where the light switch is for this, but that's okay. We don't need to see that right now. What I do see though is a ton of light coming from around this door. See that? So what's happening is that the weather strip for the door has not been installed, it's died, and so the door no longer has that to push up against to trap in the air that's inside and keep the air outside out, which is why you see all that light. It's just basically the air is blowing through those big cracks. Of course it is. And so weather stripping that door would definitely be on my agenda of things to do, because without it, you're certainly going to have a much higher electric bill as your AC works to try to keep the house cool. That's just the nature of it. Kitchen has a double basin sink. I forgot to check. Let's see. No. There is no garbage disposal. That's life. What do you do? You just have to make sure you don't let your food go down in there. So let's check out the bedrooms. We've got, what's this? Okay. I have to see this. This is restroom number 1. There might be more than one restroom, or maybe this is the only one. I don't know. But let's get the light turned on here. No? Okay. Okay, so the light switch is actually underneath the mirrors here. Now what we've got is a granite top with a very interesting granite pattern in this granite. It's kind of almost like a black and tan color here for these countertops. You can't really tell because of the light. With a double vanity, so you got 2 sinks, and along with the 2 sinks, you also have 2 mirrors and 2 vanity lights over those sinks. Okay, and that all looks really nice. They don't have the pulls on the cabinet doors. If they left them off or forgot or just decided not to install them, I don't know. But anyway, let's have a look here. First, we've got this interesting tile floor. Looks kind of like an Italian tile. What do they call that? Terrazzo. What do they call that? I can't remember. Anyway, it is an interesting looking tile, and they have it all over the floor and on that wall and on the back wall and on this. So the entire shower is wrapped in this tile and this entire wall. So you only really have one wall plus the entry here that does not have that tile on it. The tile goes all the way to the ceiling, but it has not been properly sealed up here along this side, and as a gap over there as well, where it really needs to get some sealant put in there to keep moisture from this shower causing damage. Now there is a case for a fan. That's the box that holds the fan, but the fan is not there. And the light is not there. And that really needs to be in place. Now you have a window, and code in Florida is that if you don't have a working ceiling fan, you have to have a window that opens for your restroom. So I'm sure that window opens, but if it was me, I would want to get that replaced instead, so I didn't have to always open my window when I'm taking a shower. And it's really important that there is air circulation in this room when this shower is going, because the steam will absolutely cause damage. And you might not realize it until it's too late. and you don't want that. There is no shower door. Sorry, I wish there was. You know, that's my preference. But it is tiled all the way to the tub, so that does, you know, help. We still have, you know, caulk work to do. Besides at the ceiling, these corners have some cracking happening as well in the grout, both sides. You can kind of see that maybe a little bit better here on this side where the tiles connect in the corner. There should be a bead of silicone to protect the walls inside from the moisture coming out of that shower, from the steam, if not just the water. The window is opaque, thank you so much. It lets in light, but you can't see through it, which means that the neighbors over there cannot see me while, you know, I'm here. Or if I'm here, because that is very close, you know, close enough that somebody over there could see, well, here or this way. So at least it's opaque, so you don't have to deal with that. That's what I'm saying, which makes me happy. Let's turn that light off. And check the bedrooms. So I think this is a 2-bedroom house. And the first bedroom here, that must be a closet over there. We're going to check that in a minute. This first bedroom, ceiling fan, which works. Nice window there to let in some light. The LVP flooring that we've seen through most of the house down here as well. And this is a pretty good quality LVP. You can tell because it has the beveled edge for the planks. So you can always tell a better quality. One way is by the look of the flooring itself. When it's all contiguous and you don't see individual planks, that's usually not as good. The problem with this kind of LVP though is that it is not waterproof. You will definitely have places like right here where, as you can see, there is a gap, enough of a gap between those planks to allow moisture to get down into the floor. So this isn't that big of a deal because this house is on a slab, but it is always important to note. Now this is only 8 feet across here, and probably maybe 12 feet across, not even that, 11 feet for the whole room, from, you know, from that corner there to that corner there, maybe 11 feet, but it's pretty long at maybe 18 feet this way. So it's kind of long and narrow with this door here that used to have a track slide door, you know, accordion style door on it. This goes into the closet area. Now, let me just say, there's no way you're gonna get a king size bed in there. And to get a queen size bed in there, you could do it, but one side would be up against the glass and it would just barely, you know, you'd have to shoehorn it in if you could manage it. You actually might not be able to. It might have to be a double to fit in this room. But the closet is a big space, walk-in closet space with exposed wiring behind the box that should be sealed up. The ceiling is pretty low. You know, it's maybe 7, not even 7 feet to this ceiling here. Not even 7 feet. So it's pretty low. They don't have the full closet kit in. There is some wire shelving though, so it's not bad. The same LVP that we saw in the bedroom. So this is, but it's a nice, I mean, for a house this size, this is a good walk-in closet. And with the glass block, it does let in a nice amount of light with the light off. There's the light off. And as you can see, nice amount of light coming in still, just natural light from the outside. So I need more light than that when I'm looking for my clothing stumbling out of bed in the morning time. But maybe that's enough for you. So let's get this light turned off and check the second bedroom, which has these tile floors. And this bedroom would be, I guess, if it was me living in this house, this would be what I would consider the master. It's still not very big. It may be 12 by 16 in size. But it has 2 windows, one that looks out the front and one that looks out the side, which gives a lot of light. The closet space here has no bar or shelf or anything. It's just a big open space, but it's really deep at maybe almost 4 feet deep. And 5 feet across. So it's a big space here, as you can see, but no bar, no shelf, and that you'd want to have that put in. Okay, there is an outlet in the closet without an outlet cover. And that outlet cover protects, you or your loved ones or your guests or whoever from getting into the wiring by accident, which is why I said that switch that we saw in that closet over there really needs to be fixed. It does. Because having that exposed like that is a bad thing. Okay, so I think we saw the whole place. It's an interesting, quirky little house. Needs weather seals on the doors. You've got what was a screen porch at one time, now enclosed with solid walls where the front door is, and that's been opened up to give it a little bit more square footage. That's definitely why they did that. The kitchen is nice with the little pass-through and a tiny, tiny place for a single stool there on this side of the kitchen sink. It's kind of a breakfast bar for one, which is okay. It needs a few things. The laundry space is nice and big. If you like a good sized yard, this definitely has a big yard, front and back, and the sides are big too. Also, if you're someone who needs a large workshop, a place to store, a larger vehicle like a big 4-wheel drive, you've got that on the outside. Kitchen cabinets and backsplash and whatnot all look really nice. I certainly appreciate what's in that kitchen for the compact space that it is. The downsides. We don't know about the age of the roof, and that's always a problem. You've got a Challenger brand electric panel, which no longer has the specification required by insurance companies to be supported. And what that means is that panel is on recall, and in order to be able to get a loan, that Challenger panel would have to be replaced by something else. The reason for the recall, it really is irrelevant. Frankly, a panel that's been in a house as long as that panel has wouldn't probably never be an issue. But if you can't get insurance, you can't get a mortgage. So this is a cash-only deal with that panel in place, which is unfortunate. So maybe the seller would be willing to, update the roof if necessary and replace that panel. That's part of the negotiation of the purchase. But if you have questions about this house or any other property in the greater Jacksonville area, you can always reach out to me, comment on the video, or just contact me, through the localrealtor.com or through the MLS, and I'd be happy to answer all your questions or help you, in any way in which you need. That I can. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take off. This is J. Frederick Smith, Continental Realty of Jax, here in beautiful Jacksonville, where the rain appears to have stopped, and that makes me happy. I better go take off that kitchen, get that kitchen light shut off. And is this the one? Nope. Yep, that's it. All right. We'll see you at the next one.